Hey, Katarina here with Tori.
Hi, again.
My good and faithful, who, my Great Dane, is laying on the lounger for the infant as a dog bed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. We have the infant newborn pillow lounger thing next to the couch for in case we have to go get the baby.
In case of an emergency.
And the Great Dane has fit her entire body on this. That's disgusting. Okay. Anyway, sorry, that was very funny. That's what life looks like right now. It's a lot of baby stuff, giant dogs, the toddler. I guess Kyla's not even really, I call her a toddler all the time.
Yeah.
But she's not.
It's crazy to think that she's not there.
She's 4. Which is wild.
So that's why we look amazing.
Yeah.
Today,
So
if you're
watching instead of just listening, we are in heavy lounge attire, and that has been our look for a hot minute. Tori comes to work for a woman who's freshly postpartum, who has infants that don't sleep. The longest sleep stretch I get at night is 2 hours from Salem, and that's been since November 30th. So since the night November 30th, my nights I either got no sleep or I nap all night. And it's what, the 20th, 21st?
Yeah, something.
It's been 21 days.
It's Wednesday.
I'm so tired. Oh, it's great. I just get uglier every day.
She was like, "We're gonna do a podcast, not today, right now." And I was like, "Oh,
like right now." She's like, "Today."
Today.
Yeah, it's overdue.
Wow, I look terrible, but let's do it.
My apologies that this one is overdue. I have found it harder to find the right window to do the podcast because my days are so unpredictable right now. I don't really want to record the podcast when my big kids are over here because they're very loud people.
It would be impossible.
Almost. I just don't know that anyone would enjoy listening to that.
Mm-hmm.
There would be me talking, but then just like a lot of random nonsense all over the place. But so I'd like to do it when they're not here, when the baby is sleeping or when she's content, but she's kind of unpredictable right now because she's not even 3 weeks old. So it's an interesting time of life. We're heading into Christmas this weekend, which is really wild. The end of the year is about here. I was asking Tori what we should talk about today because usually I have a topic that okay, I might have to let the Great Dane outside. She's acting like, do you need to go out? Come on, let's go. Jeez. And this is just a piece of the life. There's no dog door here, which we're not used to living that way. But usually with these podcasts so far, I've been like kind of married to a topic or felt like very committed to talking about something specific that was coming up for me. And today I didn't feel that way. Today, everything's foggy, everything's fuzzy. Life is tricky, but it's good. And Tori said, I was like, we could talk about the year in review, and Tori said you should talk about your year and a lot of about the journey of this year and some of the, I guess the idea would be some of the things I've learned and taken out of it and the way that I've evolved just over this last year so much.
Yeah, I feel like this year is your big turn point.
I hope so.
Pivot year.
I feel like the past few years have been way more challenging than the decades that came before them. Mm-hmm. And so there's been a lot to learn and probably a lot of changing and evolving that I've done because challenge forces us to do that. So this year specifically, I started the year living in more than one household, depending on where I needed to be for my kids. That was tricky. I think I had just finished renovating a condo as a second home. And I got pregnant, which was a surprise. That was shocking and added obviously a very complicated layer to the entire year. And that, because I got pregnant in March, really the whole year was the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like the year had just started and then that happened and I just had the baby and here we are at the end of the year. So really 2022 was done almost the whole thing was done pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which was interesting. And there were days where I was pretty sick, but everything was healthy, so that was good. And there was this house that I'm in now, came on the market, and I bought it in the summer and renovated it. Renovated it top to bottom and had it completely finished within 2.5 months.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Because
you should have seen this house.
You should have seen her. Original 1985 over here. And I took the renovation very far. Very far. Gutted the bathrooms.
Redone the bathroom.
Like they're totally different rooms now. So it was a lot to do, but I think it was important for me to finish this house and have it ready for this baby and feel like I had a sanctuary and a comfortable space. And I'm the kind of person who in the past had bought houses and lived in them for 2 years or less and sold them. I actually never, with my first 2 babies, did not bring them home to finished houses with nurseries or any of that. It was all very kind of like transient living for both of them, and that's very uncomfortable with a newborn and being postpartum and trying to take care of yourself and a baby. But this time I was able to bring this baby home to a finished house with a nursery, and everything that I needed was already here. And even though it was up until the last minute getting everything together for it, I was actually prepared this time.
And your home is done. Like
it was done. Actually finished before she got here.
Like things are hung on the walls and
the closets were organized when she was born.
You went through it incredibly a lot.
it was
nesting phase.
It was poor Tori.
I'm like, you need to sit down.
There was one day I sent her on an errand and she came back and I was cleaning out the garage and she's like, "What are you doing?"
And it was cold.
And I was very pregnant.
Yeah, it was like, what, 2 weeks before your due date? You're cleaning the
It's like everything needed to be ready. But I think that was something that I learned with my first 2 births was to make a home, make a space for you and your baby, even if it's not where you're going to be staying. Like figure out where that space is for you and your infant when you're going to be where you're going to be taking them, and make sure you have the stuff that you need and make it comfortable and cozy for you, because it's a hard time. It's a hard season to be in, having a newborn, but it's much better when you have your space right. You know, I'm very thankful to have that experience this time around and have that kind of comfort. It's been really lovely. There was another house that I bought this year that we've started renovations on. That was a huge journey
from the beginning.
It took months and months to get to the closing. We got through all the contingencies on that one, and the seller decided that he didn't want to sell anymore. And I was like, "Oh, buddy, you have to. Legally, you will." And I got a lawyer involved and finally got the guy to close. But he had no legal out, and I had spent so much time and effort on this house. It was like, under no circumstances can I start over with the search. Like, there's a baby coming. We got to do this. And I remember I gave the sellers lived there, and I gave them a free possession agreement where they got to stay in the house for like 2 months after we closed because I did not want them to be homeless. And we finally got possession of the house and went to see it, and Tori and I were walking around in the yard, and it like hit me that I owned the house.
Yeah.
I guess I had forgotten
Yeah.
that I owned it, and we were walking around the yard, and I was like, oh shit.
She was like, I can't believe I own this house.
What happened? How did that happen? Because the decision to own the house and to renovate it happened so many months before I actually got possession of the home.
Yeah.
And the timing of everything was really crazy because I had to close on the purchase of that house the same time I closed on the purchase of this house.
But even so, the plan is still that it'll be done by the new year.
We're renovating
which is
this other house. It's in Lakeside. It's going to be precious.
Oh, it's gonna be so cute.
It's gonna be really cute. And that should be done around the new year. So really we just rolled on with it. There were some months where I just let it sit and pay the mortgage.
Yeah, there was.
Which sucks, but I needed to have this house finished.
But this was priority. And that one started before this one.
Yeah.
So we had to just regroup.
I chose to buy so far before this one. I think that kind of like, it proves a little bit that my priorities have shifted though, because I think in previous years I would have rerouted all the work to be done at the flip to get the money.
To get the money out.
And this is probably one of the first times where there was a big life decision like that. Because in case you were wondering, having good contractors to do work is not easy.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. So I finally, I had to fire people, the whole thing. Like, it was such a journey. Finally came back to the guy who I wanted to use. And so he's who I needed to use for this house and for the other one. So I had to pick. I had to make a choice. To have people that I trust, who I don't have to babysit, who I wouldn't have to check on the house constantly. It needed to be him because I know him. And I think
this has been the smoothest so far.
Oh, yeah. He's fantastic.
Yeah.
This guy's great.
We basically pick selections and
he's project managing it for me.
It's been amazing.
Which is wonderful because it's so time consuming. And for a while I was solely project managing this house, and it's a lot. And so I really had to pick, because of the timing of fighting with the sellers on the other house and the closing and everything, I had to pick which house was going to be first, which house was going to be priority. And I chose this one, the one I was going to be moving into. And I do think in the past, I probably would have picked the money over the comfort and the having a finished home for the baby. And I'm glad I made the decision that I made.
Yeah.
I think this was the right one. And I will not make as much money because of it, because of the timing and because of paying on the mortgage on the other one. But I think that one of my goals for this season was to be kind to myself and have grace with myself and suffer less.
Yeah.
And I think that was one way that I have done that for myself this year. Is choosing something like this house renovation over the flip that was for making money. We sold the condo, the second home, the one I had renovated right before this year started, which I guess we kind of finished that renovation this year.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah. I feel like you had started on it the year before, but you finished it this year.
That was finished this year.
And then
sold it. That was a great condo, great investment. Would you mind letting the giant dog in? She's crying. She had to go out. Now she's crying at the door. I just bought another really fluffy dog bed so that she won't feel the need to have to be on the sofa with us. She really values comfort. So, sorry if you hear a giant animal walking around. That's Lola. So there was the the multiple houses, multiple flips. Oh gosh, Lola. Okay, girlfriend. Okay.
Casual.
She's like squeezing into the tiniest nook on this couch. Okay. There was real estate production, which went well. It's kind of funny because I feel like I talk a lot about these big events and things in my life, and then I like forget to mention there's also I have a job.
Yeah.
Like a career, which is my business. I'm realtors are 1099. Oh, I got my broker's license this year.
Yes, you did.
I started and finished the class to get your broker's license. Took
in the middle of her pregnancy.
I found out I was pregnant during that class.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it was so awful. Immediately started feeling sick. Like as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I felt sick by like the next week. I figured out I was pregnant like as soon as you can know that. And by the next week I felt really sick, and it was time to finish the class and take the test. And I had Tori. So I finished the class, I studied for one day, and then we drove to Charlottesville and I took the test. And I felt so nauseous. It was all the same week, I think.
Yeah.
Like the class ended on Tuesday, study Wednesday, test on Thursday.
Yeah.
And we drove to Charlottesville. I had Tori drive so I could study. And I remember feeling very sick. The material and the test is very difficult. Does not have a fantastic pass rate, I don't think. And I remember sitting there being like, I feel like I'm gonna barf. And we drove all the way to Charlottesville for me to fail this test. I didn't though.
No, you didn't.
Passed it. I'm now a real estate broker, which I need to get better about saying.
Yeah, she doesn't give herself the clout.
Yeah, I'm
Like
always
you should.
always like, I'm a realtor. I'm like, I'm a broker now. But so that happened this year, which was a big deal because it was a goal that I had before I even got my real estate license. That was something I looked to, was becoming a licensed broker. And it's something that I could have done back in 2020, but I couldn't do it in 2020 because 2020 was a cluster. I had no childcare. There was really no way for me to have taken the class or the test. I had no help with my 1-year-old, and I was about to have a baby. So there really was no way to do it then. And 2021 was a record-breaking year for myself sales-wise and for my team. Production was crazy last year. Yeah, Tori joined like towards the beginning of 2021. So going into this year, it felt crazy. It felt life was complicated, but it was like, it's time. Like it hasn't been, and there's never gonna be a time where it feels convenient, so I'm just gonna do it. And then of course everything's a cluster as I'm trying to wrap it up. The timing would work that way. But that was huge. And I will say it was a little bittersweet doing that this year.
Yeah.
I think because of the timing of earning my broker's license and finding out this very heavy information and not being able to or feeling like celebrating properly was a little sad. Because if I had not found out I was pregnant, if I had not been pregnant, I would have finished the class, taken the test, and I think I would have thrown in a giant celebration. I would have invited all of my people. I would have wanted to get dinner and drinks, and it would have been this huge thing. And instead I couldn't drink, and I didn't want to celebrate, and I didn't have it in me to do anything like that.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of, although it was this really validating thing to get my broker's license, I think it was very sad because of the timing of it, and looking forward to something for so many years and then accomplishing it and feeling like I can't even like revel in this right now.
Yeah.
So that was kind of tough. And I don't know yet what I've learned from that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the lesson is in that.
I thought it was neat. I got my real estate license this year, the same year you got your broker's license.
I like that.
So, yeah.
We have that together. 2022, we accomplished
Lola.
these big things. Lola, you have to stop. There's nothing to be barking at all. And she's laying on the couch just casually and lazily.
140, isn't it? Pound dog.
140-pound dog.
Yep.
It's normal. I wouldn't have normal sized dogs. Would
No,
I?
that would be too easy.
I will say if you are gonna have kids one day, maybe don't get 2 giant dogs. I love them,
Yeah.
but keep it reasonable if you're gonna have kids one day, so your circus will be more manageable than mine. Lola, stop, Lola, stop. That's really good for the podcast. Dogs barking in the background. Okay, do you guys need to go outside? Would you mind opening the door for them? High quality stuff
Right.
for this recording. Hi,
Lola.
stop.
Come on, Theo. Come on, Lola.
Theo, out. Lola's a Great Dane, and Theo is we think he's like a pit mastiff mix. He's like 85 pounds.
You're torturing the UPS driver.
Poor delivery drivers just trying to make it to Christmas.
Ready to quit.
All day he has to hear it from these dogs. All day. Oh, it's good old suburbia. Yeah, and I will say, work was fantastic this year.
Yeah.
Having Tori makes it so much better. I can't even tell you. Should have gotten a Tori years ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean it. We had good personal production. The team did totally fine. The team was good. And like halfway through the year, there was a little bit of a shift. The team evolved a little bit and changed.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to focus a little bit more on my personal production, which I really enjoyed and was good. And probably good timing with Tori getting her license and just getting to see more and more of that side of it. I honestly can't even imagine not doing real estate sales on a personal level, like actually selling.
I mean,
that's at the heart of it, the heart of all of it. So there will be more flips and there will be stuff for the team, but
we've got a plan kind of too for the new year.
Yes.
So that's good.
There's things in place for 2023. There's projects that we're probably going to be picking up in the works, and the market's definitely shifted.
Yeah.
A lot of people are very nervous.
It is strange right now.
It's an odd time to be in real estate, and I think a lot of agents are trembling. We're gonna be fine. We are gonna be totally fine. Our team will be fine. We are thinking outside of the box and have ideas and ways to approach this industry that we know we're gonna be okay. And I think a lot of it just has to do with being ready to evolve and change.
Yeah.
Which I've had to do, I mean, really since 2017 when I became a licensed real estate agent. The market
there's no
changed.
year since you've been in the business that's been really normal. I mean,
it's been shifting so much since then.
Yeah.
And really it wasn't a market that was super easy when I got into it.
Yeah.
And it's probably good for me. It makes me so much less nervous about this market. Newer agents, they're like, and I'm like, this is fine. This is totally fine.
Yeah.
It just feels scary because there's been shifts, really big shifts. But there's low inventory and interest rates are high.
And the market that we were in, 6-8 months ago, was
totally different.
It was there for a minute too.
Yeah, we were
sat
in this
that one for a while.
heavy sellers market,
which was, I wouldn't say easy, but it was easier to get into as a new agent.
For sure.
Where this one is going to be a little
anyone
tougher.
could sell.
Yeah.
Anyone could sell in those years. And now it's not going to be like that. But I kind of appreciate that. I think agents are going to have to prove their worth, which I think is very valuable.
And I feel like along that, we kind of lost, some of them have lost that a little bit.
Yeah, you haven't had to necessarily.
Right.
I mean, there have been times in the market for the past couple of years where if you could pick up the phone, you could sell a house.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a matter of if you would get contracts or not. It was a matter of how many you could get. But that's shifting. It's actually, now you have to be good at your job.
Yeah, you have to actually be the expert.
You have to try. Yeah, you have to work at it. And that's just going to become a little more intense. And we're totally fine with that.
Yeah.
And it'll knock some people out of the business who aren't taking it seriously, which is fine for those of us who are going to stay. We have plans in place for the team and ways to offer security to our people, which is really wonderful. For sure, and ways to get things off market. And it's, I don't know, being part of Keaton and Company right now as a brokerage is good.
Yeah, it is.
The resources there are good. We I don't know, I think we're pretty thankful for this year, even with the shift. And honestly, a huge part of my personal production was done during the downshift of the market.
Yeah, your biggest contracts of the year really were a part of that.
Which kind of just goes to show it's not about the market. The market can help or hinder a little bit, but it's really about your attitude. And I think like halfway through the summer, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a baby at the end of the year. It's time to up production a little bit. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
For a minute.
Yeah, it was like, buckle in, I'm gonna work harder. I was like, oh, wait, because we haven't been doing that?
He was like, what are you talking about?
I was like, oh, we were not working hard?
What have we been doing? What is happening?
She's like, strap in.
Hang on, there's gonna be a few months that are gonna be a little crazy.
Yeah.
Want to get like a last rush in before this baby comes out. And if I didn't time that perfectly, really did close it all.
Like, yeah, Salem was I guess she was a week old, and I was running around, a week. Yeah, I guess she was a week. And I was running around picking selections for this new house.
Yeah.
On FaceTime with Kat while she was taking care of her 1 week-year-old.
Yeah. My one week baby.
I'm like, this is the dream team.
Here we are. Gotta have Tori. My dad is this very doomsday person, which is funny because his company's really always done well. His Blue Ridge Custom Homes. It's him and my mom's company, and they've always done great, and they've been very blessed, and they work way too hard. But my dad always has this like doomsday outlook on everything, and he called me maybe last week or the week before and was like, if things get really tough, are you gonna have to fire Tori? And I was like, everything goes before Tori goes. Tori is the last to go. I can't make as much money if I don't have a Tori, and I can't spend as much time with my babies if I don't have a Tori.
It really is hard to be you, I have to say.
It's not a one-man job. That's the thing.
It's not for the weak.
It's not for this life is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And I think we handle it very well together, and having Tori has allowed me to leverage myself better to where I'm able to spend so much time with my kids, like just really with them. Yes, intentional, present time with my kids, which has been the most valuable thing.
And here lately, really, you've done it without childcare. I mean, that's what's
which
crazy.
is ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know how we're doing this.
Why do I do
we're
this?
okay.
We're all right. We're okay. But the thing is that so there's preschool, which Demi's starting, and then there's time where they're scheduled to be with their dad, and when they have time that they're not here, we try and schedule things to where real estate and that kind of work that's better to happen when they're not around happens when they're not here. And then when they are here, I try and schedule it to where I am here and present and with them. And obviously, like, there's phone calls and stuff here and there. Or I'm like telling Tori what to do or where to go while I'm with them. But yeah, we really haven't had childcare in a hot minute, and it's not that there haven't been days that weren't a little clusterish.
Yeah, that you felt like you needed.
I was like,
maybe
"Ooh, would have been nice to have a break today."
Yeah,
but it's worked really well, and
it's shifted for you too. That was like before I guess I kind of started, and even during when I first started with you, like childcare was a priority for you. Like
it
that
had
was
to
like
happen.
it
had to. And I think if it weren't for preschool and if I was still married, I would have to have it.
Yeah.
I would have to. But right now there are parts of the days through the week where they're not here in my house. And that, even if it's at weird times, because it's a lot of times like it's the first half of the day or it's the second half of the day. Like they were here all morning and right now they're not here. They might come back for a little bit depending on Demi's attitude. We'll see. She was having a hard time and couldn't decide what she wanted to do earlier. But I think with that structure, using that as if that is my child care, and then when they're here, that's my time being on as a mom. And it's less child care time than I would have opted for previously or that I had previously. But it's also kind of good to have that kind of structure to force me a little bit to prioritize.
Yeah.
And get better and better at putting them above certain things with work or feeling comfortable passing things on to you.
Yeah.
And that can be a hard thing to do, to delegate. But I think Tori came to me already with some experience in her back pocket because she worked for a real estate broker before she came to me. And then you've just gotten better and better, and now you're a licensed agent. So then I just get better and better at delegating.
Yeah, it's been nice. You've been able to leverage that, and I've been able to advance in my career as well.
Yeah. So Tori's been doing higher and higher level stuff, which allows me to do things like have that extra time with my kids and focus when I'm working on real estate stuff. I'm only putting the vast majority of my time on the highest level stuff. It's a good setup. It's been a journey and an experience getting here. Yeah. But I think, and I'm excited for this coming year because I think we'll just be doing more and more of that. And like having Tori do and manage a lot of the selections for Lakeside for this flip. And honestly, like she went and like found the stuff and I just looked at it.
Yeah, approved it. Gave a credit card.
Yeah.
The most important.
Here's the money. Great.
But yeah, and that's a part of my job that I feel like I love the most, and you know what direction I like to go in.
Yeah.
So it's been
and for
fun.
Sure there will be more of that.
Yeah.
And I think having had Tori with me for as long as I have has been crucial too, so that you can see how I operate and how I do selections and how I go about prioritizing like price versus finish and that kind of stuff. I think has been so there's so much value in having a team like this and not doing everything on your own.
Yeah.
And then also and I don't think everybody can have a 2.0 like Tori who's with them all the time, because I think finding someone who you can be that intimate with is really hard.
Yeah, because I'm with you.
Tori is with me
so much
all day, every day.
We spend the most time together than anybody.
Yeah, of all the like we spend more waking hours together than we do with probably anyone else. Which if that's with the wrong person, it doesn't even have to be that person is a problem.
Right. No, it's just.
But that's a lot of time to spend with somebody.
Yeah.
But because
we really have to work together good.
You have to fit properly.
Yeah.
That person cannot annoy you because it would be too much. But I think because it's worked for you to be with me all the time and like living my life with me every single day, it allows Tori to step in so many different ways and like see where things need to be done. And it might be that she sees something that has to be done for the kids, and then like 30 minutes later it's something in my emails, and then 30 minutes later it's something for a client. But I think that's, I guess a little bit, I like bought a life partner. I was like,
Purchase me.
I need a partner, and I went and bought a Tori, and it was great. Can't recommend it enough. But I think that
it's expensive though.
Yeah, just be prepared, which is what I had to tell when my dad was like if things got really bad, would you have to, because he knows how I feel about Tori, and I'm like, no. I was like, I will figure out how to make money. Tori's not going anywhere. So now I have to make money because that's not an option. I could see myself looking at the budget and being like, why is there no money in the bank, and it not even occurring to me that I have an employee here being like, I don't understand where all this money is going.
Yeah.
But where was I going with that? Oh,
sorry.
I think as women, though, we try and tackle things that are way too much for one person. And I do say as women, because and this is a shout out to men, honestly, men tend to do a better job realizing when something is ridiculous and saying, I'm not gonna do that. That's not for me.
Or it's too much.
Yeah. Like you if you look at research on the most hired out household tasks, they're tasks that tend to be primarily male-led tasks, like mowing the lawn, because men do a better job saying, I already worked this many hours, I still have to do this with my kids, and I have this that I have to work on. It's not reasonable for me to also think I'm going to do these other things. I really do think men do a better job of that. I think women, and I am generalizing, and this might be a sin that I'm doing it, but I do think that we tend to suck at that. I know I suck at that.
I mean, it took you even a while as a boss to like let go.
Yeah.
And let me.
To like pass on tasks and be like, you got this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm putting this on your plate completely.
And I'm like, you hired me to help you. So let me help you.
Exactly. Like, just even doing that.
I got it.
Yeah. Like, that's what you gotta hire help, and you gotta let go of it. And I think that as women, we tend to do a really bad job not considering ourselves human, and we can accomplish all of these big things and still think that we should be doing more, or that we should be able to handle it without help. And obviously not everybody's business allows for them to have a 2.0. That's not for everybody. And a lot of people work most people who work 9 to 5 jobs. They're not weirdos like I am who work like strange hours, but realizing where you need help or where your partnership could be better. A lot of times a partnership is more of a marriage, and realizing where you guys need to support each other might be part of that. And for me, since that wasn't an option, hiring someone who is a partner, and obviously a husband wouldn't be a Tory, except for in an ideal world maybe, but I would marry a Tory.
Yeah,
I
would marry a cat.
If I was gonna get married again, I would marry a Tory. But I think I've learned a lot about accepting when it's time to pass things on and pass tasks on, and giving yourself a little bit of credit for all the things that you're doing, and knowing when it's okay to rest. Which I'm still not great at it. I still kind of suck at it.
Yeah, you do.
But I'm working on it.
I see you trying.
Thank you. I really am. And like trying to prioritize myself and my health and my well-being, and knowing there are certain things that like that can happen tomorrow, or that can happen later, or that, you know what, I can give that to Tori, and if there's an issue, she'll let me know later. Yeah. So I think that's probably a big thing I've had to work on. And for someone like me, I think you have to be challenged over and over and over again to find yourself in a place where you finally start doing that.
Yeah.
Probably. And I will say and want to give a shout out to anybody who has offered help or shown up for me this year, especially in this season of having a new baby. It's been really wonderful, and I do feel like I've had a really good amount of support. And I think when I had my first baby, when I had Kyla, I felt very alone.
Yeah.
And I very much was. I very much was alone in that. And there were a couple people who showed up for me, but there wasn't a whole lot of support there. And I think there was very much I think an expectation that I just like had it handled and that I was fine and that I didn't need anything. But honestly, even when I vocalized that I was struggling, I think the response from certain people when I said that was not to help, but to tell me maybe that I was doing things incorrectly. The point being that now that I think my circle knows exactly what my situation was going to be, I think my people have really shown up for me. These dogs.
She's looking at me in the yard like.
She's like, what? Oh my word. But I'm very thankful for that, and I feel like I've gotten a lot of support, and I found my tribe over the last couple years. And I don't think I really had that before. It's hard as an adult to find your people and know who those people are. Oh my gosh. Okay. The noise level with the and you can't see it on camera, but Theo is sitting there he is. Right next to Tori.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of affection that happens in this house. I feel like now we're gonna have to wash the cover to this thing. The Great Dane was laying on this pillow. If you're watching the video,
that fits the baby.
Like her entire body, that the newborn lays on. It's a little ridiculous. So it's a circus here. It's a lot. There's dogs and kids and a baby, and there's personal real estate production, and there's a team, and there are home projects. There's a flip that will be done soon. I'll be staying in this house this time. But it's good. The year was very, very, very full.
Eventful.
It was an eventful year. It was a very full year. I feel like I lived to the maximum. Holy moly. Lola, what is going on outside that I don't know what it is outside. She's having a really hard time. Something very fascinating. But I feel like I could not have fit more into this year.
Yeah.
That was the most. I traveled to Oklahoma where my sister
You did a lot,
lived.
actually. You surprisingly did do a good amount of travel.
I did for my situation.
For you
it was hard, but I think knowing I was pregnant almost pushed me to travel more because I was like, I know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's about to happen, but I have an idea.
Yeah.
Of at minimum what's about to happen. So I went to Oklahoma. I went to the Keys a bunch of times to meet my sister and her family there. I definitely made it a priority to see my sister and her people because I know travel is going to be like not, I mean, we'll see, but I just don't see how I'm going to be doing that in the near future. So there were so many things on work and personal that were fit in, and maybe the pregnancy spurred that on a little bit.
Yeah.
To live certain areas a little fuller because it gets harder.
Yeah. You soaked it up as much as you could.
Yeah, I think I tried to soak in that season because it was a little, there was sadness in knowing that season was going to be over. The season of having two kids that were the ages that they were, and that my situation being what it is, there was some freedom behind that that's now totally Totally
wiped
gone.
away.
That's zero. There's none. I now have a whole human attached to my body all over again, and
Yeah.
she is 100% of the time attached to me, and she is precious.
Yeah, she is.
But it is the death of one season and the birth of another, and that's hard. Even when there's good things, it's a hard transition to make. But I do think I tried to soak it up, and I fit a lot in it. And now we're gonna see what happens in this next part.
Yeah.
There it is. Any other thoughts, Tori?
No, I think
No?
you.
Well, thank you for listening to this podcast on a curated life. I know this one was a little lighter than some of the other talks, but kind of wanted to keep it that way with Christmas being this weekend and kind of just reflecting on everything that's happened this year and maybe letting people get to know me a little bit better. There's a lot. So, but it's something. I've shared a piece of it. There's a piece of it with you.
I know. I apologize for the neediness of these animals.
Yeah, the animals.
On this episode.
I was worried about the kids. I forgot about the damn dogs. Forget the kids and the baby. The dogs are gonna be the noise and the problem. I'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah.
For next time. Where do I put the dogs? So thank you for bearing with us in this interesting season of life. Glad to finally get this recorded. And I guess by the time I post the next one, Christmas will have happened. So Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.